Greetings, this is Ron Smalek, and I'm reading Mockingjay, which is the third book in the Hunger Games series by Suzanne Collins. What follows are my thoughts chapter by chapter. Alright, so chapter 25, it starts with a really psychedelic dream state. Katniss is the most vivid, weird recollection of what happened ever. Basically, she was caught in the explosion, caught on fire, had most of her skin burned off. She wakes up in the Capitol hospital room with her mom, and Prim is not there. We get a slight hint. Then she sees Haymitch and Cinna and Deli and her father, and so I'm like, okay, this is still a dream. She's kind of in and out of consciousness, not really knowing what's going on. I guess Coin visits and says, I saved him for you. It turns out that Katniss has been so mentally damaged at this point that she can't speak. She's mute, but it doesn't seem to be any physical injury. It's apparently all mental. They do confirm that Prim is dead, and after everything that happened in all these books, like basically everything that Katniss has done since the very first or second chapter of the first book, which was to save Prim, and now Prim is dead after all. It's like almost makes the whole story like what is the moral here? What is trying to be told? And then as Katniss, who's just totally out of it, is kind of wandering around the mansion, she smells roses, of course, and she goes to a locked room guarded by peacekeepers where she's allowed inside by Palor, the District 8 commander, and he finds President Snow basically imprisoned in his own garden room. And Snow reveals that, or claims that the rebels framed him with the killing of the children, and that it was actually President Coin who dropped the parachutes and killed the children, making it look like Snow did it. And he basically claims that District 13 and Coin engineered the entire rebellion just to tear down the Capitol and the districts and let her become in charge. So that's the end of chapter 25. In chapter 26, Katniss goes to Haymitch because he's the only one left that she can really talk to about this, and suddenly now she can talk, but he reacts he says something snarky to her about, about the boys and love and whatever, and she goes running off and goes insane again. So they're prepping her for execution day, which is when she apparently is supposed to shoot President Snow with an arrow, a symbolic assassination and televised, which just seems ludicrous to me. And Gale basically confirms to her that he also believes it was his bomb trap that he built with Beatty that killed Prim, and so Katniss basically now associates Prim's death with Gale, and so that relationship is never going to be healed. Katniss walks into a room where she is, expecting to have to assassinate Snow, and she comes across the remaining victors, so Haymitch and Enobaria and Johanna, and Coin is there, and basically this is so ludicrous. Coin says that the Capitol can't decide whether or not to kill all of the Capitol citizens or to let them live, or to do something else, and so they're going to leave it up to the victors of the Hunger Games to decide whether or not they have one last Hunger Game in which the kids from leaders of the Capitol are competing and trying to kill each other. And when I read this part, I started just swearing out loud because I was like, this is so ridiculous. What kind of society? Like, this is even worse than the original Capitol. And Enobaria and Johanna, for reasons that I think are not, obviously for revenge reasons, but they're just not spelled out enough for me to be on board with it. They say yes, they vote yes, that there should be another Hunger Games and make the Capitol's children fight each other. Peeta, Annie, and BT obviously vote no, so it's down to Haymitch and Katniss. So I'm thinking at this point that Haymitch is going to just say yes, and then Katniss is going to have to be tiebreaker. And I got another WTF moment where Katniss basically says yes. And so now it's 3-3, and Haymitch is going to be the tiebreaker. And Katniss is looking at him, wondering, if Haymitch is as much like her as they've always thought. And Haymitch says yes. So apparently there's going to be another Hunger Games where all the capital children fight each other, sort of as revenge for years and years of actual Hunger Games in the districts. And I'm just like, this is just such a strange, bad idea. Then they go out to the area where Katniss is supposed to shoot Snow in front of everybody. And, of course, it couldn't be any more obvious if you reflect back to her shooting of the pig with the apple that she turns at the last minute and shoots Coin and kills Coin instead of killing Snow. Of course, with all their medical technology, Coin can't be saved for whatever reason, I don't know. But I was like, I just yelled out loud. I was like, come on, I saw it coming. But even so, it was such a messed up thing. I mean, fine, whether Katniss is truly motivated to do that or not, but Snow basically gets to live a little bit longer because Katniss kills Coin. Again, what is the moral of this book?